Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is BeatStreet Sports Talk Radio. Your host, Lee, the Hoop Guru, along with my man, Eddie, Mr. Know-It-All, as always. What's going on, Ed? How's everything?
Yo, man, everything is everything, brother. Having a good night.
Okay, man, yeah, we're going to get into this terrific Thursday. Getting ready for Week 14 in NFL starting tonight. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans, I believe. We can call this the Trash Bowl or whatever name you want to call it.
It's the Houston Texans.
What did I say?
Tennessee Titans.
Oh, my, yeah, Houston, excuse me, man. That's what I was thinking. He's saying, I'm not saying Houston Texans, but we're going to call this the Trash Bowl anyway. I don't think too many people will be tuning into this tonight, but nevertheless, the game is played, so we're going to make our picks on it. We're going to talk about college football, Jameis Winston. We're getting to some NBA. Again, this is BeatStreet Sports Talk Radio, and for anybody out there listening, if you'd like to join the banter or bring up any topics or questions, you can give us a call. The number here is 347-945-6921. But before we get into all the sports talk, we have to, just fresh off the wild, we heard about the passing of the great Nelson Mandela. For anybody that doesn't know, that's the South African leader who dealt with apartheid, was in prison for 27 years because of trying to get equal rights in South Africa, or what they call apartheid there. Eventually became free and became president of that country. He died today at the age of 95, and a lot of people are sad about that. But I said we need to celebrate the man's life. He's done a lot, accomplished a lot. He lived to an age I know a lot of us are hoping to stay healthy that long. Ed, anything you got to add to that?
Well, yeah, like you said, the focus, of course, is going to be a form of mourning. This is not to be mean, but I expect more of a form of mourning in this country than I do the States. And I just think stateside and all around the world, he just needs to be looked upon, like you said, his accomplishments, impact upon the world. Because he went ahead, not alone just dealing with the fact of getting out of prison, but he went ahead and he did something that I think that everyone should strive for, which is basically he left like an indelible mark on society, and basically his name will always be remembered or ring bells, whatever term you want to put along with that. And it's not the people that lived in this or walk this earth that can actually say that their name is always going to be mentioned for generations to come. So that's a really big accomplishment that I think a lot of people won't be able to go and do in their lifetime. So.
But, it's that old adage, live for something or fall for anything. And he definitely lived for something. Especially though when we see atrocities and things going all across the world, when you're able to be that person to step out on the ledge, be in the forefront, and, take the accolades along with the pain. And 27 years for pain for fighting for something as simple as wanting equal rights in your own homeland is, is a tough pill to swallow, but he did it and was able to, take that time and use it as a positive and come out on the other side victorious in life. So that's a beautiful thing. Now let's, we touched on that. We're here for sports, so we don't want to stay too much on a somber note. So let's transition into what things a lot of people basically listen for. But the next story isn't that great at all. I guess it's good, but it's still bad because I guess it had a little legal ramifications. But today we found out that Jameis Winston, the quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles, will not be charged for, I believe, the sexual harassment charges. I'm not exactly, was it sexual harassment or rape? I'm not exactly sure what the charges he was facing, but nevertheless, the prosecutor decided he would not be charged. Ed, do you have any, I believe a sexual assault case. That's what it was.
Yeah, the sexual assault, rape. I'm looking at this from two different sides. It's like if I look at it from a sports fan, it's like I'm really tired of these young men going ahead and putting themselves in position of either not using protection or going ahead and which is going to sound crazy, but having consent forms or videos of these women saying that they had consensual sex, but this is one of those things. It seems as if it's going to be timeless and always happen. Young men being cocky, big-headed, not looking out for their future and seeing that not all women, but there are some women out there that will try to be gold diggers and try to get them for their fame because they see they're about to go and come up. So that's one aspect. Then I'm looking at these ladies. I mean, this is the second time that I've heard of a situation where a young lady mess around. I mean, they're all young. We all did it. Mess around and mess with a young man. And the reason why Wintson got off is because of the fact that the young ladies couldn't go ahead and go along with either consensual or unconsensual sexual acts, because not only did they have samples from Jameis in her panties, they also had 2 samples from 2 other jokers. So it's like, what I'm saying? When you're in that situation, when it make it look like somebody basically, just had their way with you or ran a train on you, you can't say something was consensual or unconsensual. So those are 2 things on that note. That's from a sports part. And then if I go to, go ahead.
Oh, well, I just want to chime in, too. I think situations like this really make it hard on females who really suffered atrocities in situations like this as well, because, one thing, if a guy had sexually assaulted you, raped you, I reported immediately or within a few months, but to wait a year to, honestly, it looks like, oh, wow, these dudes are bubbling now. This team's on the map. This dude's been Heisman talk. Now it comes out, that's too much of a coincidence. And honestly, even though I can't say he did anything right or wrong in this situation because I wasn't there, but one thing I do know is the politics of the day will prevail. And right now, there is a truckload of money at stake with Florida State being able to play, beating Duke and being able to play for the national championship. There's a lot involved with that. So, if she really, really, suffered atrocities from this man, I wish she would have reported a long time ago before it looks like his life's about to take a whole different direction.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe you didn't hear about that part, but originally they wanted to go and come out with this information, and the sheriff that I guess they dealt with or what have you told not only her but also the girl's attorney at that time that, I don't think this is something you want to do. You need to think about this, because this guy's a big-time star, and you need to think about the ramifications of what may happen to you and your family if you go on with this. And then the report got held on the desk for the state attorney for 11 months. So,
yeah.
So that played a big part
right?
to the whole thing. Mm-hmm.
I'm a father. You're a father, too. Now, let's say your daughter comes home and saying somebody did such and such to her. Would a policeman really be able to talk you out of getting justice seek for your child? I know not me.
For me, no. But see, here's the thing, and this is the talk that the people don't want to have. For the most part, parents know the things that their children do. So if you know your daughter's out there a little bit, you might need to go ahead, think about that, or you might need to also have a real talk-to-talk conversation with your daughter and be like, okay, tell me exactly what happened, and then at that point, we'll make a determination from there. But I know a lot of people, of course, just going to go and jump to the conclusion my daughter said something and go from there. But the third part, a non-sports part, which is pretty much what you said, from a father's aspect is like, and like I said, I have a daughter, and the thing I'm looking at the fact that, okay, now, we all know that, we all came up, we did things our parents wouldn't approve of, just like their parents and so on and so on. But a lot of these women that are getting caught in these situations, I just feel sorry for them, because now this is going to be looked upon as, another high-profile athlete went ahead and got off. Some girl went ahead and reported it. So what's the need of reporting it? And it's just another continuous cycle of men can do what they want, and it don't matter if a woman says something or anything. So it's like, it's a catch-22 for me, because I don't want an honest man to go to jail and be, having to pull in Mike Tyson and things of that nature. But on the flip side of that, too, it's like, true that she had some things she did wrong with having, like, 3 different DNA samples in her panties, but it's like, on the flip side of that, too, it's like, this is like another situation where it's like, this is going to go ahead and stop women from reporting these crimes that happen because they think no one's going to listen, or they just think that, I'm just supposed to go ahead and eat this. So I'm uneasy both ways on it, because, like I said, I know a lot of women have been through these type of situations, but I mean, like I said, if he's innocent, he's innocent. But I just don't really like how the young lady played herself, and hopefully, she'll go ahead and she'll learn from that.
That's what I mean. It's like the timing was just extremely questionable. Why didn't this happen in summer camp or week 1 or week 5? It seems like at the finish line when his celebrity is at the top, the tag's been right now. Where he's about to hit his Mandela state, this happened. So that's the thing that looks real suspicious. But it's unfortunate. But now it looks like I say, he's not going to be prosecuted. So hopefully he learned from it, and she learned from it as well. And I mean, learned from it as well is that being smart as far as relationships with men, and if somebody did violate you, don't let anyone talk you out of seeking justice. I mean, I find that very important. But now that this is the case, from the sports point of view, how does this mean that Florida State is the favorite to win the national championship?
Well, with Alabama being knocked out the box, because typically Alabama will lose a game, but then they'll be able to be in the SEC championship and get right back in it. This year they don't have that luxury. So they're basically going to be on the outside looking in, which, I know Auburn beat them, okay, but Auburn is really not – they're not really not that great of a team. But right now, and answer your question, no doubt FSU will be the number 1 team going in. They got their quarterback. He'll be playing. They don't have no major injuries. So now it just comes down to who they'll be playing. And I don't think Oregon's in no more because they have 2 losses. No. So it basically comes down to this Auburn-Missouri game. And I think for the most part, Auburn wins that, they're in. And then if Auburn loses, then I think that's going to open the door for Ohio State. Because I really don't feel that they're undefeated. No, I don't believe so. I believe. No, I know. I do. I like this. Don't. Okay. All I'm saying is, don't be surprised if a one-loss SEC team gets in over undefeated OSU team who played nobody and had a horrible strength of schedule. Just don't be surprised.
I understand that, but what I think is going to help them. The fact that they're undefeated. What's the coach's name again? I'm forgetting his name, but
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer, right? Because Urban Meyer, a former SEC coach, has been undefeated up there almost 2 years. I think that's going to be taken into consideration, even though their strength of schedule on paper, isn't as strong as the SEC team. I think that duration alone is going to get them in the game. Now, I think if Missouri, I don't know. I don't see Auburn being justified to jump ahead of them to get into this game, unless they blow Missouri out. And Ohio State. Ohio State has one more game, right?
Nah. Do they? Let me think. You know what? I think they do, because the Big Ten, I think they just got a conference bowl game, maybe they're this the first year, maybe the year before last. So I think they may have a game. I think they might be playing like Michigan State or something. So I think they might have one more game before a conference championship. But here's the thing I think you're discounting. Yes, I hear you with everything you're saying, and I'm not going to say you're not right. But you're overlooking the fact the SEC has won, the last 7-8 championships in a row. They have a lot of prestige and a lot of shine. So because of that, along with the fact of OSU's schedule, I can see them going ahead and putting OSU third and putting Auburn, if they win, in the game against FSU. Now, I will say this. I think if Auburn loses that game, I can see a higher probability that OSU will go ahead and be playing a championship game. But if Auburn wins that game, don't be surprised, brother, if Auburn's playing FSU.
Wow. But this is what I think. I think if Ohio State wins handily, they're in. If it's a close game and Auburn wins handily, I think Auburn may be in. But let's take a scenario. Florida State, there shouldn't be a shot in hell they lose to Duke. But so let's say Florida State against Auburn, who wins?
Well, right now, with Florida State being the undefeated team, and then Jameis Winston now with him being cleared, and also now he shouldn't have an issue with losing votes to the Heisman. He'll probably be the Heisman Trophy winner more than likely. I would say right now FSU should be favored, but with the SEC, is Auburn gets in there with the semi-pro league, they're going to have some their style of play can confuse and use FSU's speed against them in the run game that they use. So I think there's a probability that more than likely FSU will probably be favored, but I don't think they'll be favored against that much against Auburn. Auburn would have a very good chance to beat them despite the inability of Auburn's quarterback to be an efficient passer just because of their style of offense.
Okay, now on the other side, FSU against Ohio State, if they get in.
I don't know if Ohio State defense has the size to go ahead and match up with FSU's line because they have very good line play, offensive and defensive line. So that's my only issue. Against Auburn, I don't believe the two things are either equal or it's not going to be that slightly of a difference. But when they play OSU, I'm not quite sure OSU can go ahead and deal with the physicality of the lines of FSU along with the athleticism. Now, I know Urban Meyer knows all about that being SEC, but that really would be a matchup that would be intriguing to me because the majority of teams in the Big Ten, a.k.a. the WAC-10, they really don't match up well against SEC, Pac-10, and Big 12 teams because they don't have the athletes they have. So, and it'll be an interesting matchup. Either way, I mean, either way I'm going to watch, but I will say, even though I don't see OSU getting in if Auburn wins, a matchup of undefeated would be an attractive matchup for a championship final before they go to a playoff.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll give the playoff more credibility. I think it'll make the BCS kind of go out somewhat respectable. Well, in the last half of the show, let's talk about some things that are going on in the world of basketball, unless there's something else we skipped over you want to mention.
Well, yeah, I mean, you going to pick a game for tonight, bro?
Oh yeah, my fault. I'm sorry, yo. See, this game is so trash. It skipped my mind. But
it still counts, brother.
You know what's crazy? Where's this game being played?
I thought the game was in Jacksonville. I'm not sure, but I thought it was in Jayville.
I think it's in Jacksonville too. And the way things are going,
I know what you're thinking.
Jacksonville.
So you know what? That's the thing I'm thinking about. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Like I just can't. I can't pick them to win a game. I have to. They're too. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Houston is like a juggernaut as we know from this year. But I don't know. There's something about that team. I just can't do it. And the thing is, even with this matchup, typically I always either go with one or three things. Either, the team going to high school, which is Jacksonville, all of the line play, because has a stouter front, or I'll go with the quarterbacks. If I go with the quarterbacks, we got two backup quarterbacks playing. So it's like, that's null and void. Then both teams that have been, Jacksonville wasn't supposed to perform well. H-Town was. So, for me, I'm just going to go just with the fact that I know Jacksonville's at home and things of that nature, but I'm going to go with Houston because I still feel as if that Houston has the better players. I think I'll take Case Keenum over some Henny, and I'm just going to go with H-Town. Now, I don't have a problem with you taking Jacksonville. I can understand it because they have been looking better the past couple of weeks than Houston, but I just can't do it. I'm going to take the Texans.
Well, you know what? This is when I'm looking at these two teams. They're both horrible, so I have to go with intangibles. And those intangibles to me are energy and emotion. And the energy is going to be being at home on a Thursday night game. You're the only game in town. They're at home on a Thursday night, so that it should be some energy in Jacksonville, which is kind of rare, especially coming off a win last week. I think those few things will give them. I'm not going to say a Seattle 12th man at all, but maybe just a little bit to play with some type of more energy than a Houston team that's disappointed and just wants to go home. I think that's going to be the only difference, and that'll be the difference in the game. Houston probably just has already melted in mentally and emotionally, so that's why I'm picking Jacksonville. And
okay.
Also, too.
So now you can go to the NBA if you want.
Well, no, there is something else I did want to talk about. Your boy Tomlin.
All right, what you got?
He got fined that $100K for stepping on the field, running in front of your boy from Pittsburgh. What team were they playing? The Cleveland? Can't remember.
No, they were playing B-Mart.
Okay, yeah, Baltimore. That's right. I understand the fine, but $100K, man, and the possibilities I heard maybe losing the draft. it wasn't that egregious. I thought maybe suspend the guy a game and keep it moving.
I think the suspension is. I think the suspension is more crazy than the other two things you just said. I'll put it like this: a lot of times the NFL will go ahead and give stiff fines and penalties to make a point. So basically, it's making an example out of Tomlin to let the other coaches know that if you're thinking about it, don't do it. And also, there was also a video of the Super Bowl of Flacco saying that once they scored, that San Fran was going to run back the kickoff return or whatever. He was like telling guys while he was down the sideline to put their foot out, trip him, or he was going to go out there and go tackle him. Because really, we've never seen that before. So a lot of people didn't really know what would happen. Not knowing that, if a guy has a clear path to a touchdown and he gets, hit, tackled, or stopped from doing so from somebody who, was not in the field of play, they can still award the person the touchdown. So you're really not stopping anything. You know what I mean? But since it's never happened, no one really knows what'll happen. But first off, don't feel sorry for Mike because he makes $5 million a year. That $100,000 nothing to him. Okay, that's not a big fine. Okay, so he'll pay a little $100,000. That's not a big deal. Now he knows. Now the other coaches know. The equipment boys know. Everybody else know. If you're thinking about it, don't do it, because he was the only person that was standing on the white barrier. No, all the rest of his players and stuff like that were back. So, like I said, just use him for an example. He has the money. And also another thing too. Mike Tomlin's on the what's the thing called? The Player Safety and Rules Committee. So if anybody's supposed to know, he's one of the 3 coaches up on that. If anybody knows that rule, it's him. So he manned up for it. He didn't go ahead and say that it was intentional or not intentional, but he manned up for it. Said it was his fault, said it won't happen again, and he said he paid a fine. He wasn't going to appeal, and then he's ready to move on. So everybody needs to move on as well.
Okay. And I understand. I thought it was a little bit over top, $100K. Maybe half of that or something. But it is what it is. I understand. Bottom line is don't stand on the field, man. Don't get involved. Get on the field to play whatsoever. You look at the jumbotron, you can see that jump for like 5 steps back. So do that. NBA now. Let's get into this. We have another game that I think the NBA would have thought was going to be a marquee matchup tonight. It's going to be a marquee matchup for another reason. You have the 3-13 New York Knicks playing the 5-13 Brooklyn Nets.
It's a beautiful thing,
I'm looking at this game like this. I think the Knicks, even though they have the worst record, they have the most to lose. They're on a 9-game losing streak. They have more talent than Brooklyn has. Brooklyn's been playing terrible. They just got blown out the other night by Denver, and New York's more desperate for a win. Which team do you think needs to win this game more, and what are the ramifications for the loser?
Well, I think they both need to win. So we both know that's not going to happen. But what I will say is that I don't want to say it's impossible, but just based upon the two teams, looking at the players on the team, their age, health, and things of that nature, if Tyson Chandler was starting this game, I would say it was 100% guaranteed the Knicks will win. But even with him not playing, I still cannot see how Brooklyn is going to go ahead and beat the Knicks. Now, they might be a little hyped and rowdy because, they both New York and all that crap. You know how New York cats do. But I'm just saying that when it comes down to the actual X's and O's and looking at the players on the court, to me it's pretty evident that despite the fact that your well-documented rant of how the Knicks don't, swing the ball, no ball movement, and when he gets to Melo, he's a black hole and things of that nature. I just think that the Knicks go ahead, they play harder, they have better players, and they have better chemistry and know what they're doing opposed to Brooklyn. I mean, with Brooklyn, they got a coach don't know what he's doing. They got new players, they got old players, they have lack of chemistry, and they now have dissension with the bench. So I don't really see how Brooklyn is going to go ahead and win this game. So I just think that there's no question that the Knicks should win this game. And that despite how the issues that the Knicks have, that they'll win because they actually play harder too. Like I don't see no tough play, no passion, or anything when I see the Brooklyn play. It is out there.
Well, Brooklyn's weird because, like you said, Jason Kidd basically fired Lawrence Frank or gave him some bogus title. Now, Jason Kidd's the one who brought him in and negotiated a 6-year deal $1 million a year for 6-year deal for this dude to be the assistant coach. Lawrence Frank is the top paid assistant coach in the NBA, and he sent this guy packing less than 20 games into the season. So, what turmoil is really going on behind the scenes for Brooklyn right now?
Well, the whole story with that is, and here's the thing. I'm going to give you the whole story, and then I want you to tell me if you can recognize the problem I might have with this. And the whole story is that, the Brooklyn wanted to get Jason Kidd. They got him. When they got him, and I guess he was already discussing with them who he wanted to bring on his bench, he's the one who negotiated bringing Lawrence Frank on, negotiated a 4-year contract for $1 million a year, like what you said is the highest out of all the assistants in the league. And he also had negotiated that after the 4th year that Frank had the option to go ahead and go up to upper management and be part of upper management.
That's
so I want you to tell me what problem. So the way Kid looks at it, Kid sees the fact that, look, you know what, I got rid of Byron Scott for you because, I know you always trying to kill doggone your boy Williams, but Jason Kidd also and Chris Paul both got Byron Scott fired, and then him and Lawrence Frank was together when they was in Jersey, and they had a little successful run to that nature. So Kid always looked upon Frank with a certain amount of favor. So the way Kid sees is that, look, I went out and looked out for you. I got you the sweet gig. I got you on my best, things of that nature. And he felt some type of way because there were reports coming out of Brooklyn that Lawrence Frank was, don't get me wrong, me and you, we boys, we had the discrepancies and things of that nature. We never let it get out of hand. But it was a situation where the I guess I want to say basketball schematical plans they had differences of. Frank went ahead and made that open and was talking about it to the players in a disrespectful type of manner. When they got back to Kidd, he felt some type of way, and he let him know, look, I know you don't think I'm the head coach because you've been a coach longer than me. You don't think I'm nobody. I'm going to show you who I am. And then he went ahead and he downgraded him to just doing the daily reports. That's all he's allowed to do. Daily reports, I think now they just said he's allowed to go ahead and do film cut-ups. But he's not allowed to do anything with the players. I want you to tell me what you think my problem is with that.
What your problem is, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in your mind. What problem from whose perspective? From Jason Kidd or Lawrence Frank?
No, I'm gonna tell you my problem is who the hell is Jason Kidd for this dude to have this kind of damn pull to go ahead and get Lawrence Frank that kind of deal and things of that nature? This dude ain't Jordan, Magic, and Larry Bird. Like, really, we did all this for Jason Kidd?
Hey, Hall of Famer, but this is the problem I have with why I'm hiring him in the first place. Extremely unprofessional move by Jason Kidd, behind the scenes and in front of the camera. First of all, when he got in front of the public and notified us that he demoted Lawrence Frank, the dude sounded like he's never sat in front of an audience and articulated his thoughts ever. Just the vernacular, the style he talked to me was very unprofessional. And two, if you went this far to negotiate this man, damn, Jason Kidd, you need to be an agent more than the coach. But you negotiated this great deal for Lawrence Frank, and you guys, for real, you guys had a beef. I don't understand why you guys couldn't work it out behind the scenes and not bring this to the forefront of the public, because your team's already in disarray. It's going to make the situation worse. And I think, and that's what you're seeing right now. And it's unfortunate, Jason Kidd, he better enjoy this, because this may be the only opportunity he ever gets to coach before he even knew what he was doing.
That's one thing I was going to say. People talking about some doggone Mike Wintson. Forget that. If anybody should be talking about getting fired, it should be Jason Kidd. But then again, I can't blame anything the kid does, because he has no business being a coach. The fact that he got elevated to a coach immediately after playing with no coach experience, no television experience, no TV analyst, no nothing, is really a slap in the face and very and extremely disrespectful to coaches everywhere. Like, that's very disrespectful. The fact that he even got the gig. Too,
you got the Russian owner with the his $9 billion or whatever he has in his wallet, and he's trying to buy a championship. You have to, unless you get a talent like LeBron James to try, it's not that easy. And their quick rush to build a team with Darren Williams giving away all their draft picks. Then, Garnett and Pearson, they gave away more draft picks. they're not going to be able to bring in young talent, really trying to build and to grow a stable organization. Because even if their record was reversed, let's say they're 13-5 on top of the division right now, this team's only built to be strong for a year or 2 years. So what do you do then when you have no top draft picks? So that model within itself, to me, is flawed. And what's making it worse now is that they're playing like trash. So it's going to be rough. On the other side with the Knicks, with the Knicks, I don't see where they get better from. And what I see happening through the course of this year, and it's on record, so you know how we like to do, I see one, Mike Woodson being gone, and I see Carmelo being traded. No, excuse me, I said Mike Woodson. Yeah, Mike Woodson, the coach of the Knicks. He's going to be gone. Allen Houston will probably come in.
Here's a question I got for you: is if the Knicks lose this game, will Mike Woodson be fired before Monday? Because that report's out there that if he loses this game, it's a wrap.
I think so. That's a 10-game losing streak. But put it this way, if they get blown out, he's definitely gone. If they get blown out, he's definitely gone. They better not get. If he gets blown out, he's definitely gone. But they lose, I still think they're gone. Unless Dolan doesn't want to seem abrupt, because he doesn't have Tyson Chandler. Raymond Felton's missed time. He does have a few things to make excuses for, but they still should be, a 10-game losing streak in New York. And when you're expected to win your division or compete for it, that's not a good look, man. It's really not.
And I will say one more thing before you go in on the Knicks with Jason Kidd, and I know even other people were saying this. Part of the thing that Jason Kidd has is Jason Kidd is still doing this thing and running this as if he's just a player who's in charge. I don't really think he really has grasped the concept that you're a coach now, because part of the reason why I think he negotiated that contract for Frank, and I think part of the reason why Frank had an issue is that I believe that Frank is really doing all the coaching, and Jason's like the POTUS, a.k.a. the president, and he's just just a figurehead. I mean, just think about it. When you look at the Brooklyn plays, it's going to be different tonight because I really want to see this. When I'm looking at the sidelines, you never see Jason calling no plays, writing up on no board, and none of that stuff. That's typically Frank or somebody else who's doing that. And I believe that he was going ahead and pushing off his responsibilities and things on Frank and the other assistant coaches, and he was just sitting there thinking that he felt Jackson like he ain't got to do that. Because you will never even see Jason even pick up a grease pad.
Well, hold up. Think about it. The only reason he negotiated that deal for Lawrence Frank because he was shook anyway. You always bring, like, if you got a job you're overqualified for, what do? You hire a smart person to work under you, right? To make you look good. That's exactly what Jason Kidd did. He was scared to death, man. But, they gave him the opportunity and he took it. So what can you say? And, we're running a little overtime here, but just want to bring up another thing. Derrick Rose had a little mini press conference today about his torn meniscus. He's it's totally different from last year, but he looks like he wants to return this year. You saw the press conference. What do you think about his comments and actually showing some eagerness to return to the team, turn to the court this year?
I think it was awesome because I think that we actually saw some real emotion from him this time, and he was saying stuff like he typically never says. He was basically saying, like you said from last time, he said that if he's healthy and the timing is right, he said he will come back and help the team play because he said he has a torn meniscus, no other ligament, so it's probability that he could come back and play later on this year. But the biggest thing to me that I heard is that one of the reporters asked him, what about the things out there for people saying that the Bulls should go ahead and move on from him because of the fact that, he already did one thing to his knee 1 year. This is the second time it's happening, and that basically this is how it's always going to be, and that they should just go ahead and move on now because he's not going to be no good from here on out. And typically, he would have went ahead with his typical humble self and not say anything. That boy actually came out of his mouth, and he said, the Bulls can be a fool if they want to, and just went on with the next question. And that I was crying when I heard it. I had to replay it a couple of times, on the remote. But the fact that he said that, that's the kind of thing from him I had been looking for because, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people like the whole, he's not cocky, not arrogant, things of that nature. But I really did like to see that from him with him saying that because I know he always like to act like he don't hear stuff. But I like the fact that he said that and just let it be known that, look, yeah, I'm having my issues right now, but look, I'm still young, I'm still a baller, and it ain't going to change. Plus, he also said he wasn't going to change his style. So those are two things I got from him that I like to hear.
I think it's good. One thing it shows to me, one, the dude should have came back during the playoffs last year because you can't predict the future. And all the precautions he took, he still wound up being hurt. So, he could have played last year when the team was stronger, and he could have a ring on right now. I know that sounds far-fetched, but you never know.
Yeah, we ain't going that far now.
No, I'm just saying that the team was playing hell of a good, and he could have been the extra pump or emotional lift to get them over the hump. So to me, you got to put. I'm just glad he sees that now, that this basketball life can be short. So if you can play. Another thing too, just some NBA tidbits here. The Washington Wizards, who are 9-9 right now, their center Martin Gortat must really be feeling good about himself because he says the Wizards are going to win 50 games this year.
Well, he said what?
He said they're going to win 50 games this year, man. What's the over-under on them winning 50 games?
Look, man. Look, you need to get that boy away from Marion Barry, all right? Okay? You need to get that joke away from Marion Barry, man. Okay? Get that joke away from Marion Barry, man.
How close are they going to get to 50 games in? He said 50.
They ain't getting up. Okay, here's the thing I got. What is close to you? So I can understand that question first. What's close?
No, I said how close, meaning the number 50.
I didn't know what close is.
No, I said how close to 50 do you think they'll get?
You said how close to 50?
Yeah.
Man, East is quite horrible this year, so they might make sure I get lucky. I'm going to be nice because, it's the holiday season. I'm going to say they're going to get 10 games within 50. That's me being nice.
But by you saying them 10 games within 50, you're saying they're going to have a losing record because that would be 40 and 42. I don't think the Wizards have a winning record. I think they'll get to 40. I say they'll get to 44. I think they'll be 44 and 40. So I think they'll be maybe 60. They'll definitely have a winning record. I see they'll be close to it. The 44 for the NBA, that's 44 is still kind of far away from 50. When you count the games. But I think they'll be 40. I don't think they'll hit that mark, but they'll be one of the few teams in the East to have a winning record. I think Detroit will have a winning record too. They were very impressive against Miami. I kind of predicted that they would beat Miami. Miami just doesn't match up well with that speed and the height and strength that they have down low. They have no answer for my boy Drummond and Monroe, especially when they're actually filling the lanes with Brandon Jennings pushing the ball.
Well, that's the thing with that team, and because I was talking this with someone else I know. When you look at Detroit team, they start out kind of slow. They have some things to figure out. But until Josh Smith understands that, you're one of the best players on the team, but you serve the team best by playing team ball, until when he learns that little niche of that, being more of a team player, just looking at, the two bigs, Drummond and Monroe, and with Jennings pushing the rock, the thing that's killing me is a lot of times I see like a big flash of the hole and get a dunk or things of that nature. I think it's Monroe. And the crazy part is, it's Drummond. Like, he has really good feet and size and quickness for somebody that young and that big. So, with those two jokers down there,
Dwight Howard.
I ain't gonna go that far now because Dwight Howard was always. Well, here's the thing. Dwight Howard is more of a cut specimen. Drummond has more girth to him. Not to say he's fat, but he's just a thicker body. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm talking about not physically. I'm talking about the way he runs the floor and be able to.
They're both. But Drummond he's a much bigger player than Dwight. That's why it's remarkable, like how nimble he is. Like you got somebody that big that can move like that. That's not normal. You know what I mean? So it's like he does a real good job. But like I said, the thing with Josh Smith is we all know he's not a traditional stretch forward and like that. But if he can just go ahead and learn to play his role for that team, that could be a dangerous team if they can. Who's the coach that's it? It's the boy Chief, right? If Chief can get them to play some D and play, play play some defense, and play quality ball, oh yeah, they could be a sleeper team in the East if they still learn, to figure themselves out. Because you probably will have like 5 teams in the East. Yeah.
Once Chauncey Billups get healthy, there's a lot of different ways that he can mix that lineup up. I think Kyle Singler's going to have to play more because they're going to have him on the court with that stretch forward. Because with those bigs, you're going to have somebody to give those guys some space to operate, or if the defense collapses, kick it out for open J's that somebody can make camping out in that corner. So they got to get at least one bona fide shooter, and we know it's not Josh Smith. So, but Detroit, I look to, they're one game under 500 right now. I know people are talking about the East is garbage. It's early, and as the season progresses, I think you'll see a few teams going in the right direction and kind of balancing things out. Because, I'm hearing crazy talk like maybe they should just do the top 16 teams in the whole league and all those things. These teams in the East could be fine. You just got a lot of new coaches, new pieces that need to learn to gel together. And we're about to run out of here, but Kobe Bryant's not going to play Friday. It looks like he's going to play Sunday against Toronto instead, which is a home game. Makes a lot more sense. Sunday night, too. So, I think Kobe likes that stage a little bit better. So, unless something changes, Mr. Bean will be there. Prediction, how many points will Kobe score in his debut?
Well, before I go into that, I honestly want to say that I know it's Kobe, he ain't going to do it. But I really would like for him not to come back, honestly, until after the All-Star break. But since though he's going to go ahead and come back now, one of the things that I seen was Dominique Wilkins. He went ahead and tore his Achilles at 32. He came back and ended up having 2 more All-Star seasons and having one of the best seasons of his career actually after the fact. He said that the one thing he knows about the Achilles injury is the fact that when you come back, you can't do everything you want to do at first, but it forces you on your fundamentals to play fundamental basketball. Now, I think that his fundamentals are already good, but I think he's going to come back and be fundamentally strong. And I actually look for Kobe to play the way he did during that stretch when the Lakers won the run to get in the playoffs. And I look for him to be like more of the point guard of the team, getting other people involved, hitting the spot-up jumpers and basically finding his way of what he can do until the rest of his body and the strength catches up in his legs where he can go ahead and turn the Vino and, get his dunks on. So I'm going to say, point-wise, I'm going to look for, I think he's going to have, almost a triple-double, or at least a double-double for sure. I don't know if it's going to be a points or, not points, but rebounds or assists. But I can see Kobe coming out having, 19, 20 points maybe.
You're saying a lot of words, man. We're running out of time, man. But look,
I'm going there, man. 19, 20 points, 7 boards, 8 assists. I can see that.
All right, man. You know what's funny? I was thinking, I thought you were going to go the other way and thought you were going to say maybe he's going to come in and drop 35 points or something like that. I'm thinking the same thing, too. I think he's going to take his spots. I think he's going to show a well-rounded self, not just try to take over, and I think he'll be very close to a triple-double that game. I don't know. And plus, I don't think he's going to play a lot of minutes. He's probably not going to play more than probably 20, 25 minutes at the most anyway. So, but that's it, man. We covered a lot of things. We'll see what happens with this NFL game tonight, and we'll take it from there. Everybody, again, this is BeatStreet Sports Talk Radio. We'll get with you guys tomorrow. We'll make the rest of our NFL picks. So thank you for tuning in. It's always love. Peace.